Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Today, doing the flip side of what I did yesterday, going over my top 5 least favorite worlds in Wizard101. Now, before I get into it, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, leave your rankings for your least favorite worlds in the comments below, and compare with other people. Give your opinion. Let's start up some discussion, because we all like discussion. I would like to say, my least favorite worlds change all the time. This is just my current ranking. Some of them fluctuate up and down, but this is my current ranking and I'm going to stick with it. So let's get into it. Number 5, and this is going to come as a shock to a lot of people, is actually Wizard City. Now, before you leave, before you dislike the video and, you start a riot in the comments, it's very important to know why this is number 5 and my most disliked right now. The old Wizard City would be maybe even top 5 for me because it's so nostalgic and I loved the story. The story is near and dear to my heart. I still love like the Colossus Boulevard story and the Tread Underwater story. Those are still amazing. But they've done so much to Wizard City that it's become almost unrecognizable for me. And obviously, I like the graphic changes. The graphic changes are amazing. I love them. I think that they're great. But I think that changing the story fundamentally was really sad. Like, we're never going to see Private Stilson again at the front of Unicorn Way saying, "Halt! None shall pass," right? Like, you'll never see that again. Private Quinn being a Giga Chad who's friends with the Fire Elves, you'll never see that either. Now you just see a little weenie boy. For some reason now, Susie Griffin-Bane is saved by Ardor instead of reverse. I still don't understand that change. I don't know why they felt the need to switch that. It's like such a weird change. And then finally, Nolan Stormgate is even more of a douche, and they took away one of, in my opinion, the most interesting characters in Wizard City, which was Nolan Stormgate. Nolan Stormgate had this thing where he was a douche, but he was also smart. He understood what had to be done. He understood how to save the students, and he might have been a little bit of an idiot, but he kind of had some brains to back up his bite. Now they make him a complete idiot. Like, he has no brain cells, and that pisses me off. And it's really sad to me that they ruined this. The only thing I'll give the new story changes is that visiting Bartleby with Merle Ambrose was a really, really cool change, and I really like that change. I think everything else, though, everything else detracted from the story, not added to it, and it's really, really sad. So obviously, that's my opinion. If I was ranking the old Wizard City, it would be much, much higher than the new Wizard City. Number 4, and this will also come as a surprise, is Chrysalis. Now, this comes as a surprise not because it is so low, but because of how high it is on my bottom 5. But Chrysalis, I've actually changed my opinion of it over time. I definitely still dislike the world. I don't like going through it, but it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. Actually, just the other day, me and my friend quested up 2 of our wizards each, so we had a full team of 4. Got my Fire and Myth, and we quested through Chrysalis in 3 days, which, obviously doesn't sound like a ton, but it was a little bit brain numbing. Now, I would like to say, for Chrysalis, there's 2 distinct parts. Obviously, there's part 1, part 2, but there's 2 distinct parts in my brain and how they're rated. Part 1 is agonizing, it's slow, and it's boring. Part 1 of Chrysalis would definitely be like bottom tier, one of my least favorite areas, but part 2 of Chrysalis I actually quite enjoy. Sardonyx is my favorite street in Chrysalis. I really love Radiance Reborn and the Ruined Alcazar. Both are really, really good. The Hive is sick. It's a bit long, but it is sick. Conda Desert's really the only outlier of that, and I loved the Shadow Palace and the ending of Chrysalis. Why I think that Chrysalis is bottom is very obvious. It's very long, it's very painful. It has the most quests in the game at 277, which is Azteca and Avalon combined, almost, which is kind of crazy. And I think the main issue I have with it also is the fact that it feels anticlimactic. The last fight against Morganth is actually really, really easy, and I've always hated that. I hate the fact that this really hyped up villain that you're supposed to be defeating, using all the knowledge and powers you've gained over Arc 2 is just taken out completely easily. You can do it in 2-3 rounds Not difficult in the slightest. Chrysalis is definitely a hard number 4 for me. I used to hate it more, but now I think 4 is a fair place. Next on our list, and I struggled between these next two definitely can flip-flop, but, and don't tell Pyrosquid this. If he's watching this, he's not gonna like this. I think Celestia is number 3 for me in my least favorite world. I don't hate it nearly as much as he does. I think it's definitely bad. I don't think it's the worst world in the game, though. Sorry, I thought that person teleported to me, and I was like, I don't have any friends online. That was really strange. Celestia, for me, has a lot of problems. I actually made a video on it, like, a few weeks ago, saying Celestia, the art of making a short world feel long, something like that, and I think that's the main issue with it. Celestia never feels fun when I go to it. Some of the streets are pretty cool. Like, I really like Survey Camp in the Grotto. I think it starts off Celestia really well. But the problem is that there's stuff like the District of the Stars, there's stuff like Science Center, Storm Riven, Crustacean Empire, all that make the world feel absolutely agonizing. Now, I would like to say the only reason why this is below Chrysalis for me is the fact that I think I never enjoy coming here. Like, Chrysalis is cool because I get to level 100 and I get something like impactful. Celestia always just feels like a really boring and slog through a world that I just never enjoy. I think Celestia, for me, has always been one of my least favorite worlds, and it probably always will be. I think that they really need to rework the quests, and it's just really not good. I can't say much more than that. I wish it was better, but it's not. Next on our list, and as I said, this was a toss-up between Celestia, you can flip them back and forth, is Grizzleheim. Now, I would like to say Wintertusk is not included in this. I do actually like Wintertusk. I think Wintertusk is a good world, but I dislike Grizzleheim. And there's a simple reason for that, is that Grizzleheim feels incredibly long. Like, Grizzleheim is way too long. It is a ton of quests that takes multiple hours. Like, Ravenscar, I've boosted myself through Ravenscar with my fire, and it still took over an hour. Like, that is ridiculous. No street should take an hour while boosting yourself with a max level. And I don't think any of the story is particularly really interesting and memorable. Like, you know, you obviously are finding Ivar Anderson and all that, and the Coven's taking over. And that's cool and all, but it doesn't feel impactful to the point where I remember it very vividly. And then I'm going to go over the biggest problem with Grizzleheim, which is the XP. Grizzleheim gives literally 0 XP. You can do all of it at level 40 and gain maybe 1 level, but probably 0 levels. If you do it as you unlock the streets, so at level 20, you still barely even gain levels. You gain maybe 1 at most, even at level 20 from doing Staversted Pass. And I think it's a significant problem. This world feels like it's useless. The only reason why you're doing Grizzleheim is to get to Wintertusk. That is the only reason, and that alone makes me really hate Grizzleheim. Now, I would like to say I want to love this world. I absolutely love the atmosphere. I love the aesthetic. I think it's amazing. But the problem is that it is completely overshadowed by the fact that it is boring as hell. It takes a very long time, and it's just not fun. Which is really sad. They made a world with such a cool aesthetic, such a cool look to it, and such a cool atmosphere, feel absolutely agonizing and painful. Now, this last one will come as a surprise to absolutely no one. No one should be like, okay, yeah, this wasn't going to be on the list. Azteca is the worst world in this game. Now, I know some people don't absolutely despise it. I've seen some people who don't hate it, but they're just wrong. I think the problem with Azteca, there's so many problems with Azteca, and I've gone over it before. Me and Formal Phantom both have made probably countless Azteca rants between the two of us. Azteca has so many problems, whether it be the dual typing of each boss, the fact that the bosses spike in difficulty to the point where they each feel agonizing. The world is so long. It feels so long. Like, it took me, you know, just as long to do Azteca as it took me to do Chrysalis, despite the fact that Chrysalis has so many more quests. And my biggest problem with it is that the quest pacing feels absolutely ass and just boring. The only consolation that I get for this is the fact that the world is destroyed in the end. So at least I can, like, take out my rage and anger on the fact that Jabal was coming down and destroying all of these people. That's my only consolation prize. Now, I would like to say I want to love Azteca. I really do. I've said before I don't hate Azteca, and I think that was me just deluding myself. But every single time I do it, it's the most painful world. I just did it again recently, as I've said. And God, it's not a good world. It's just not a good world. And nothing I can say can be like, okay, it's a good world. It's just not. It's painful. It's bad. And I dislike it. I think the real easy way to fix it would be, one, to mark the dual typing on the bosses. That would be super easy for Kings Out to do. Two, just cut out a little section in the middle. There's like this really long section where you're preparing to go to Zoltan Dock after finishing Salt Meadow Swamp, and it's like 40 quests long, and it drags on, like it drags its ass, and it's so painful and not fun that if they just removed it, I think Azteca would be a little bit better, honestly. I think if they removed that section of quests, it would probably be my third least favorite instead of #1 least favorite. So that's it for today. Let me know your ranks in the comments below. Let me know why you disagree with me, because obviously there'll be people that disagree with me. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go support me financially on Patreon if you wish, and also join my Discord server. It's pretty fun over there. So, thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Adios.